Without further ado, please welcome Madelyn Sonoma.
I don't know if I'm supposed to talk in between songs, but it feels natural. So that was called Dinner for Two. This next song is called DNTA, and it stands for I Don't Need That Anymore. And it's kind of an homage to like things that you just kind of cut away through a lifetime when you don't need it anymore. Coming back to a cleaner house than it was when I left. The sink is fixed and the counter's clean and you've showered me with gifts. There's a note on the piano that I can hardly bear to read. And suddenly I recognize there's been a change inside of me. 'Cause baby, I don't need that anymore. And even though I'm not quite sure what I'm looking for, I know that baby, I don't need that anymore. Something didn't feel right when I asked you to stay. I wanted to believe that we could start another way. And as it turns out, all these things you did for me nearly ever solve all your insecurities. 'Cause baby, I don't need that anymore. And even though I'm not quite sure what I'm looking for, I know that baby, I don't need that anymore. Know that you and I got tangled in our ways. Maybe 5 years ago these gestures would have made me stay. Write another letter and ask me once again. Destroy every line I drew and we try to be just friends. Take another piece of me, now there's nowhere left to hide. If the truth is what you want, you ought to take this one in stride. 'Cause baby, I don't need that anymore. And even though I felt it forever before, I know that baby, I don't need that. Baby, I don't need that. Baby, I don't need that anymore. Hydrating is good on hot days. Here I go again, clinging to what I don't want to lose. Hi.
So I met Madelyn last year, right? Not that long ago. She came into the piano store to play some pianos. She can tell you all about the Red Room, by the way, which is not available today, unfortunately. But come back and check out the Red Room. There's some cool pieces in there. Pianos and clocks and all kinds of cool things. So I met you last year, so I don't know a lot about your background. We've talked about stuff, but tell us about your sort of musical timeline, or not musical timeline.
It's been an out of timeline. I started playing the piano when I was 6, and I didn't want to play the piano originally, but my parents told me if I wanted to play any other instrument, I had to start with the piano, and I'm so grateful that they said that, because it's a very important instrument to learn. And I was classically trained, and I almost quit at one point because I wasn't really feeling classical. And through this whole time, I was always like journaling and writing songs, and it was just kind of like a way for me to escape. And then in freshman year of high school, when I told my mom, I was like, I think I want to quit music, quit piano, I don't like classical. And she found the Colburn School of Performing Arts in Los Angeles. And they had an awesome jazz program on the weekends. And the high school I was at didn't have a jazz program. So I started going there on the weekends and discovered jazz, which completely changed how I looked at music, and felt like a better fit. And so kind of like developed my ear and learned about improvisation, and strengthened, kind of like built on a lot of the technical skills that I'd learned with classical music. And then, I went to college and I studied jazz and world music, and then did not do anything with that until now. So kind of took a very indirect route to get here.
Yeah. And so, what have you been doing since then?
Pretty much everything, but no. I mean, I've been like playing and still writing, obviously. But I went into the restaurant industry. That was the first thing I did while I was in college to make money, and then kind of just stayed on that course. Ended up opening a restaurant, leaving a restaurant, not knowing what I wanted to do when I was like in my early 30s, like going through a pretty big career shift. And then, I've been doing some photography and focusing more on music, I guess. It just kind of feels really natural to me, and I love it so much. It's such a gift and like beautiful way to like share with people. So that's kind of what I've been doing.
And so when you were doing the non-music things, did you, because a lot of people talk about music education and how, even if you're not going to be going into music, it helps you with all kinds of other things. Did you see that happening? And did you take anything that you, not necessarily musical things, but I don't know, did you use any of that, or was it just completely different?
That's a good question. I think one of the biggest things I took from music was learning how to listen and be open to other people. Working in restaurants is obviously like very chaotic, and you have a lot of different moving parts, and just sort of like being in tune like with music or playing with other people, or even just playing by myself, like having to be open, like keeping your ears open while also being present, and sort of this like give and take that's happening. So that's probably like the biggest thing that I was able to translate into a lot of different areas.
Yeah. Well, shall we do our next set? I think that's a nice little transition for the next set.
Yeah.
Okay.
Josh. The next set is guitar and voice, something different. whispers. There's a place we can go to escape our shadow. In the days of choice and pain, can we free ourselves again? And on this road that's meant for two, only one of us will do. Through the valley of the past, some things fade while some things last. Safety is the promised land. I'll only go if you take my hand. There's a place we can go to escape our shadow.
We actually co-wrote that song. Forgot to mention that. I'm going to the laundromat, even though I don't have to. I'm walking all the routes we take 4 days a week at noon. And I'm waking up at 6 a.m. when the morning light's still blue. 'Cause I'm just trying to get along when I'm not alongside you. I'm reading Murakami out loud to myself. I'm jumping in the water without you here to help. Making coffee thick as motor oil, 2 spoons of sugar too. 'Cause I'm just trying to get along when I'm not alongside you. I never had a model for how these times would be. Relations in the past filled me with anxiety. And I'm doing all these things that I never used to do. It seems that I'm still me with all these parts of you. Sitting on our boat, writing songs to pass the time. I'm thinking of that autumn day like a still frame in my mind. Reading dictionaries, hoping you'll be back real soon. 'Cause I'm just trying to get along when I'm not alongside you. And I know you're trying to get along when I'm not alongside you.
So I want to ask about, well, lots of things, but how how did you get into like the food business? And what led you there?
I was too scared to go into the music business.
It
So
is
naturally, naturally the food business just seemed better. Looking back now, I'm like, what was I thinking? But I mean, I love cooking, and it's still like such a big part of my life. Just like being creative, but then you get to like eat things, which is great. But yeah, I was really, it kind of just felt like less scary to me, honestly. And because I had started doing it in college, it kind of just took its own form over time, and then I was in it till I wasn't.
Yeah. And so what specific things did you do? I mean, did you kind of start at the bottom, or did you like go right in and start cooking? Like what avenues did you take to get to opening up your own restaurant?
Yeah, my first job was a reservationist. I was in a concrete basement, like in San Francisco, on mission between first and second, and I would just sit there for 8 hours taking reservations and answering phones.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't like a riveting job, but from there I did hosting and then was an assistant manager, and kind of just like worked my way up, and then I met my now ex-business partner in a restaurant that we worked at together, and so it kind of just felt like it was like a natural path, and then there was an opportunity to open a restaurant, and I just went for it.
Wow, that's amazing. And so were you doing music kind of by yourself through all of that, or was it completely, I mean, did you have time to do that? It seems like...
Yeah. I had stopped playing for a little bit because I got so caught up in restaurants. And that was one of the things that I realized when I wanted to get out of restaurants, and I was like, I have to go back and like relearn kind of about myself, like relearn all these things that I love doing that I had dropped to just kind of be like full steam ahead. Yeah. With that. And so that's when I really picked up the piano, and as I was transitioning out of the restaurant and having like a lot of feelings, I was like, yes, this is where this comes in handy.
Yeah. And then you said you got into photography. Have you always kind of done that, or was it something that you just all of a sudden like, hey, I'm going to do photography?
I always did it with my phone, but and I always loved it. And then, it also felt natural and something I really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And I'm still very much at the beginning of that journey.
Yeah.
And trying also not to like pigeonhole myself again, like I did with my first career in restaurants, where I just sort of was like, I'm gonna ignore all these other parts of myself so I can just do one thing, because I realized that I like doing a lot of things, and that's okay.
Yeah. I know that sometimes, I mean, as a musician myself, like sometimes it is nice to kind of take a break from music learning and do a thing and then kind of come back to it. When you went back to kind of focusing on music, did you feel like, oh, like now I kind of remember all those things came back, or did you really have to just relearn all the things that you learned in school? Like what was that, like coming back to music, what was that like?
Mm-hmm. I pretty much remembered everything, because I always like listened to a lot of music too, and I would still play the piano, but not like I'm gonna sit down and write a song. So there was like a little bit of a learning curve where I went back to the books and just sort of relearned chords, and was really trying to like strengthen my ear again to hear different chord progressions, and really just pay attention to like what I like, what sounds good to me. Like listening to a lot of music.
Yeah. And you said that you had first started studying classical music.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the things that you learned in classical music that you brought to your songwriting or to the jazz side? Or, yeah.
I think...
Was there nothing?
just like, that goes out the window. There wasn't too much, honestly. I think most of it was posture, and like like finger.
So more like technical things, but
more technical,
not necessarily musical things, or
yeah, not necessarily musical. Although learning about like counterpoint and more of like music theory, classical music theory, I feel like was really integral to kind of my own writing, and learning how, yeah, just things like sound and work together, don't work together.
Yeah.
And like creating tension versus like release, like all of that.
Yeah. Well, do we have another set?
Yes. Trading in the market of marginalized gold. Throw away what isn't pretty. Waste much more than time. There are better ways to spend my mind, and I can go. Keep what's mine. Be free to leave the rest behind. You might not agree, and I make it look so easy. Inside of me, I'm killing the queen of mediocrity. Wants to ease the pain, losing what we gain. Dollars solving problems that they make. Say what isn't said, forgive what I can bend. Giving more than what I take, and I can go. Keep what's mine. Be free to leave the rest behind. You might not agree, and I make it look so easy. Inside of me, I'm killing the queen of mediocrity.
I did have a couple questions about your songwriting process.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, everyone's a little different and every song is a little bit different, but do you have like a general, do you do lyrics first, then a melody? Do you do melody first, or do you do the chorus first? Like, how do you kind of construct a song?
That's something that is like in development currently. But normally what happens, I don't know, when I first started writing songs, it would just strike me like at a point. Most of the time I'd be like in the shower doing something completely random, and then I'd like hear something, and then I'd run and figure out what it was before I forgot it, record it before I forgot it, and then there was usually words to it. But as I'm starting to write more intentionally now, I tend to I'll think of a title, or like if there's a phrase or something that like catches me, and I'll write that down, and that gives me like a starting point to more shape, like I'm starting to think about it in a different way, I guess.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do I want to say? Who's the character saying this, if there is a character? Yeah.
And are a lot of your songs biographical, or not? Or is it just, does it depend? And how much of yourself do you put in your songs? How much of your story do you reveal?
A lot of it is autobiographical.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, it's fine. And then some of it, more of my more recent stuff has been inspired by other things. So like the song Josh and I played together, Shadow Town, was inspired by a book by Murakami called Hard-Boiled Wonderland. And yeah, like he was telling me one day about it, and the story about the shadow, like he was telling me this story that just like really struck me, and then that night this song just sort of like came out. So And then another song, which I'll play next called East Coast Cinderella, was started. I was at dinner with my friends, and one of my friends called my other friend East Coast Cinderella because she had to like leave early by 9 p.m. So like just kind of weird stuff like that where it's not autobiographical, but just sort of like being in these scenarios and then either finding myself laughing or being like just feeling that strike of inspiration. Like what would that be like East Coast Cinderella, like what does that phrase mean? And then I kind of just like let my mind go with it.
Yeah. Sorry, did I cut your set off?
Oh, it's fine.
Okay. All right, so are we going to hear East Coast Cinderella right now?
Sure.
Okay.
Tell me how you'll turn if you're not gone by 9. Is it not when the clock strikes 12 that you'll leave this world behind? Normally it would be so she'd have more time before she goes, but it's just a game of numbers when she's on a different coast. I can see by the way she crossed her arms and smiled. It had been a long, long road, breaking free with every mile. Felt like I had known her 1,000 lives before, but as the story goes, she couldn't stand another chore. Different as we are, as close as we've become, she's just an East Coast Cinderella on the run. She doesn't have family like many of us do. They only want to fit themselves into her lost shoe. Unlike what you've been told, she doesn't want new looks or gold. The man who thinks he loves her is stuck in ways of old. How different as we are, and as close as we've become, she's just an East Coast Cinderella on the run. I'm used to granting wishes and helping girls find love, but that doesn't seem to be what this woman's thinking of. It's not that she needs magic or God to make her feel. She asks me how to live a life that is pure, deep, and real. I take her in to tell her to ditch the other shoe, 'cause where she wants to go is entirely new. But different as we are, and as close as we've become, she's just an East Coast Cinderella on the run.
Okay, so this is the time when I ask the 3 questions. So the first one is, how do you prepare for a gig? Do you have rituals? Do you have things? Yeah.
Well, today I was doing a lot of breathing, which my friend Jess is actually here taught me. Yeah, like doing breathing to sort of just calm nerves, and it's like one of those things that most of the time none of us really think about, but to focus on it is a really lovely thing. Drink a lot of water. Went to the hot tub yesterday.
Nice.
Like pretty much anything I can do to relax. Yeah.
And what is your favorite setting to sing in or play in? Whether it be like a venue, whether it be instrumentation, like what is your favorite setting, most comfortable setting?
The last gig I did was a couple months ago, and my friend, who also plays the piano, she has a piano mover, and she went and put like a baby grand piano on Market Street in the Tenderloin, and asked me to come play a set there. And I was like, well, this is different. I mean, all of the sounds of Market Street, like the cable cars, people yelling, like traffic, it was pretty wild, but I loved it. And it was just, I felt so alive, and it just kind of felt like more how I like to share music, where it's just like available, it's accessible, and it was cool like for people just to walk by and they would be surprised and they'd stop or they'd keep walking, and it was like a really fun way to play. Yeah, so I like playing on the sidewalk apparently.
That's great. And what is your, how am I going to say this? What's the first time that you kind of played for other people in public? And what was the song, and would you like to sing a little of it?
Yeah, I can sing a little bit. I had to like quickly remember the chords to this, because it's literally been since the 4th grade since I played this. But yeah, it was like at a school assembly in elementary school. So I remember being quite nervous for that, because it's like my whole world's gonna end if people don't like me. But yeah, I can play a little of it if I can remember. Hey Jude, don't make it bad. Take a sad song and make it better. Remember to let her under your skin, and then you'll begin to make it better. Yeah.
And what was that performance?
Oh man, I think it wasn't like a show. They had asked a couple of us who were in the music program or like musical to just play before this assembly, and I honestly don't remember what it went on to do. Like, it might have just been an informative assembly, but yeah, I remember playing, and there was like a couple other kids that also played too, and I was really into the Beatles, so.
That's great, that's great. And I meant to ask earlier, are there certain artists that inspire you, or that you'd like to listen to, and that you feel like you're kind of going in their direction, or not necessarily? But
yeah, I feel like I have such a range of influences. Oscar Peterson, who's an amazing jazz pianist, my favorite. Ben Folds, Elton John, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Lauryn Hill. I really like Lauryn Hill too. TLC. I'm kind of like all over the place. I like to just pull different rhythms. I don't know, music from all over.
that's great.
Yeah.
Are there any questions from the audience? No questions at all? No, not one?
You're doing a great job at asking.
Nice. Well, I think this is the point, and full disclosure, we totally forgot to sound check our little duet, but I think it'll be fun. So this is the portion of the show where I get to sing with my guest artist, and I'm kind of excited.
Me too.
Do you want to say anything about the song?
Yeah, so this song's called There's No Why in Love, and I wrote it in a church. weird story. I ended up staying overnight at this mission in Central California 2 nights, and I was there all by myself, and I had access to this church 24/7. So I spent a lot of time in there practicing and singing. And I'm not religious, but it turns out that it was the Church of San Antonio, who was like, he's like one of the saints. I looked him up, and he's one of the saints of love, and so it was kind of just, I don't know, the song just like came to me there.
Wow.
So that's where it was written.
Nice.
There's no iron love, like we don't question all the stars above. And I know you feel it too. It's the only thing that we're made to do. And every time that I'm feeling low, I think of you, and that's how I know